Ugly Ugly. Good evening, heroes and heroines, and welcome to Practicing Programming in C, where we're going to continue doing some stuff. I'm doing very well, daughter. Thanks very much. How are you? Thanks for popping in. The stuff we're going to be doing is to continue with the deletion, isn't it? So, yeah, delete project. Doing well, cool. Oh, dude, I still haven't looked at the that thing, by the way. You know, the still haven't looked at this stuff on pair. Keep thinking about it, but I just haven't looked at it. Oh, that's what we're doing as well. So we need to test the deletion. Do the product delete, delete product top level, and delete the HTML file. So that's as we want to do. I think actually before we test it, I think I'm going to actually just do the delete product top level. Let them both delete the HTML files, and then let's test it. And then hopefully we should be able to move on to doing the reorganize projects. So yeah, we'll see. So delete project top level. It does nothing at the moment, and we want to make it do the same thing as delete projects. So yeah, we basically want to first of all just unify these two dudes. So a quick gander. It might be nice if we can just have one function which both of them call. It's possible they might need two, like a prev and a preamble and a postamble, and they both do like specific stuff in the middle. But if we can get away with just having them do like a great big chunk of stuff that's all the same, then that could be cool. Uni's destroying daughter. Let's see what we've got. I think I kind of figured that the only real difference is this, isn't it? So I feel like these two values need to be set so that this person out here can actually do this stuff. Tell you what, rather than trying to look at it, let's actually just copy it in and just replace what needs to be replaced. And then pair is undeclared. Right, yeah. Replace what needs to be replaced. And then we can just go from there. Yeah, I think this is just a count, isn't it? I think. Yeah, I thought that'd be the case down here. So that's the only things that changed. So that means I reckon we can let that happen. Let me just do the yeah, surely it will be a void, I guess. But it's basically like delete product shared, delete product interior, I guess. And what would it actually take? Yeah, as I'm saying, I reckon just make these guys do the same thing. This thing can be dereferenced at any point, can't it? Yeah, strangely enough, there's actually there's not an awful lot that is actually going to be shared between them, is there? Strangely enough. I mean, it's probably only going to be this, isn't it? Is that right? You want these to be available outside. Accumulating the children. Now, actually, what is this actually supposed to be doing? Child accumulator. Yeah, let's see where this is used actually. So that's only used right down there. So it's possible that we could actually do this later, isn't it? And I mean, if it's only being used down there, why don't we just make delete landmarks if projects and children use it? Do it. Because we can't do anything about it, can we? Yeah, I think that'd be reasonable. Additionally, this guy's taking the G as well. So it's got the main generations. The child is here. I suppose we're not passing the child, are we? So that's a difference. So I suppose it's only this person. Let's let this guy do it. But let's let it do it right down there. The purpose. What was the purpose of that again? Just to give us more. So yeah, I think it was just so I could do this up a bit. So this bit here is what's done by the outer people, because they need to be operating on DB block projects. You know, they need to be operating on the actual things that they need to be talking about. And then this, all of this stuff down here can be done by the shared function. And then finally you just do that. So I think that's what you do. So by a similar token, you've got your pause up there. You don't accumulate. You've got your handle, you buy it. You write that. You write this. And then it's just the delete project area. I did choose the name Cinera, yeah. I don't know that I've ever actually revealed the etymology of it. What do you think of the name? I guess I could call it byte through files, one of the other ones. Or is it byte through buffer? Yeah, bytes through buffer is what I call it. So wherever I see byte, yeah, I know. Unfortunately, that I only realised that they existed after I'd actually started to use it. Yeah, by that time it was just like kind of too late, I guess. Bytes through buffer. Right, yeah, bytes through buffer again. Now this one here does actually need to do references, doesn't it? Yeah, I think it does. That doesn't. Yeah, and this guy takes all that stuff. Do I actually use the parent? I don't think I do I? No, so that cut needs to be taken. Which keyword do I use to get results for this Cinera? Cinera indexing, maybe? And we could actually see what the keywords are, can't we? So yeah, I don't think I've actually set any keywords, have I? Yeah, Cinera indexing gets you there. How does it determine the because there's no keyword set? I think, do they use the title? Is that one of the things that they use? Also, maybe if you do Cinera Miblo, I mean that's not super findable, because I mean who's going to be looking for Miblo? Compañía Minera Milpo is a Peruvian mining company, headquartered in Lima. So I haven't thought about getting into mining, gotta be honest. I wonder if Cinera Index would also get you there. No, it doesn't. Interesting. So I might need to, yeah, I might need to set some keywords to actually make this a bit more findable. Yeah, publish isn't probably going to find either, is it? Well, it does. So how does it I mean, how does it find publish and not index? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cinera indexing, yeah. I wonder what video indexing just gives you. It'd be pretty amazing if Cinera just pop up with that. Yeah, it doesn't really give you that. Yeah, see, I haven't really searched for any of this garbage. Although this is the very thing that Cinera is doing. I just haven't looked it up. I think that was it, wasn't it? Yeah. So if you want to look up for, if you look up video indexing and publishing, surely this can't give me Cinera. No, because there's way more stuff to do with indexing and publishing from books. Street listing for relevance. Okay. Yeah, so there you go. Cinera indexing will be the thing. So this needs to take the child. And I think like that, isn't it? The G and the byte. Deal. So there we have it. So now I think we should be supporting the deletion of top level projects. So let's test it. Should we test it or should we delete the HTML files? Shouldn't somebody be calling themselves? Like, shouldn't there be a skip project somewhere? What am I missing here? So there you have it. There's the skip project of children happening right there. So yeah, I guess that's just it, isn't it? So basically, skip projects and children just needs to change to become delete HTML files of projects and children. Right. When does it start? Oh, that's a nice idea. I think you could kind of derive it from this thing. HTML parser for C. Yeah, so I guess yeah, I guess it was around here. It probably was around, yeah, the end of February 2017. So it all started off with, it was originally called HTML to HTML.c, because that's literally all it did. It just converted HTML files to HTML files. Or rather, it converted a single HTML file to a single HTML file. And then over time, Cinera, it kind of did more stuff. And we renamed it to Cinera. Yeah, I mean the name Cinera is floating around here, isn't it? I think we must still have used the C file name HTML to HTML, but this name was popping up around June of 2017. We're still calling it HTML to HTML there. It might be when the database came in, actually, because I think I realised when I was doing the database that I needed a way to there we go. I needed a way to version the thing, and I needed a way to identify the database. So you can kind of see, like if I just look at the, well, it's not there, is it? If you look at this, you can see that there's this identifying thing, this Cinera. I sort of need, when I did that, when I was doing this database, I sort of realised, well, it just didn't feel right to call the program as a whole HMML. You know, I could have just used HMML as the name, but it didn't feel right because that was only the markup, and there was, you know, there's more that it does. So I sort of then thought of, I was trying to think of a name. I came up with Cinera then. And there we have it, yeah, we stopped tracking HTML to HTML there, superseded by Cinera in November the same year. So yeah, I guess it's around there, isn't it? Oh, it's the 11th of the 11th. I mean, it depends how you count it, like whether you say that the whole program started off in February and the rename happened in November, I guess. As for when it was first used, certainly between these times, and I don't think it was very long after HTML to HTML started, actually. Track test HTML. Gosh, who's this? NJ. Added line switching. This is for something else, I think. Source recording. Yeah, I feel like it was actually even before here that this was happening. Yeah, I think it's also the color lightness stuff. I think it was the thing was in use before that was actually fixed. And also before the help text, for that matter. So yeah, must have been really soon after I started doing it. Not exactly sure what this means. Oh, it's the yeah, the filter menu. Yeah, it's gonna be somewhere around those dates, I reckon. It was also before here, because it was live before we did this thing. HML.com. So yeah, I actually had the idea for, well, we knew that we needed a configuration format way back then, and it's only now that we're doing it. Yeah, the beginning is of config. Embellish HTML. So yeah, I guess this was just sort of trying to get out. Yeah, mocking it up. And crazily enough, when I did this whole configuration format, I didn't even remember that we even had this html.conf, I don't think. So I definitely didn't refer to it. So I don't know how close it was to how it was supposed to be. I have actually, yeah. Because I make a 2 for the whole lot. Yeah. For the configuration and for the database kind of showing of it. I'm not sure that I will care too much about kind of doing what I'm doing here in the TUI, if you know what I mean. So what I mean is, like, I don't think I care to have a program in which you can sort of say, here, just put this project over here, or delete this project, or insert this project. I don't think I'm going to have a separate program that does that, because I think it should suffice that that's all driven by the configuration. But I was actually thinking, only early today actually, of having like an end cursors interface for basically just viewing it, really, so you can just see what's in it. I mean, it would kind of replace the thing that displays that prints the asset block. Yeah, so this thing happens. I don't even know if this is going to work, by the way, because I haven't no idea where I'm up to. But yeah, this assets block. So the interface could show stuff like this. So you'd just like have individual assets like tabbed up or something, and then also have like, well, we're not printing it, but yeah, showing these guys, the projects. I think I probably would like to do that. Yeah, I think I would. So yeah, we were up to this, wasn't we? Skipping the deleting HTML files of products and children. I mean, I suppose we could like, yeah, let's just do it because it needs to be done. Let's just get it done. Delete from DB. So this is going to be deleting. So it takes the entire neighborhood. And it's taking the base file name. Here is remove. Deleting an entry. So don't we have something like a delete player page? Yeah, we do. So the thing is, I don't want to be doing this exactly, because this person updates landmarks for neighborhood. So I think delete from database should also decrement all sorts of stuff. So this is doing. It's doing stuff that we don't need to care about, basically. But the thing that we do need to care about is just deleting that player page from file system. Yeah, so it makes this path first, removes that, and then it removes this. I think we might want to, if we're not relocating, yeah, I think we might want to make this additionally take a boolean saying should we print out the stuff, should we print out this message essentially, or rather should we print out either of the messages. Where's it getting player location from? That's what I'd like to know. So it's getting that from the project. Okay. So you can't get that from the thing. Now if it's getting it from the project, we have the project right here. Don't we? What is that false again? That was relocating, okay. So yeah, my suggestion is that rather than doing that, I guess this is taking a pointer to a thing, isn't it? Let's just see who else is calling this, maybe. Although it doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't matter who's calling it, because they're all going to have that stuff available to them. Yeah, I mean, we're essentially going to be doing this call here, this rep 0i. Yeah, I think maybe originally this wasn't taking the end project. I think that's what it was, and it just knew the directory that it was going to be in. So yeah. Yeah, just play location, isn't it? I think. Is anybody else using the player? Yeah, this guy is actually. Now, have I just scuppered my chances there? Don't think I have I? Because that's literally just wrapping that. Yeah, that's it. So, now that we've got that happening, yeah, it's just going to be this very call, isn't it? So we're going to be going into the project, go through all the entries, but for each entry just pass the entry, pass this thing. And let's additionally just make this person take print output or echo, I don't know. I can't remember what I've usually call that. There is a thing that I there are cases where I've done this, but I can't remember exactly what I called it. How do you do this? I think echo should be fine. So in delete entry, this person should want to be echoing, as should this. These guys are only bothered about the thing. So let's just say, actually, can't be that. Okay. And then if we're supposed to echo at all, then we do this. Otherwise we don't bother to do anything. So now that we've got that, we can go into delete project interior. So this is and it needs to return the point, doesn't it? And it wants to be taking the child. In fact, that's it, isn't it? That's all you need to take. Yeah, it is. Let's just go and grab the skip people. Let's just completely mimic these, because there you can see that it's in the skip project that you've got the entries available. Oops. I think that's right. Just while I'm there, though, I think there was one of these locate functions that was doing pointer arithmetic on a void star, which I just want to fix up. Was it locate block? Yeah. Because that's illegal. You're not allowed to actually. Well, it's not. It's undefined behavior to do pointer arithmetic on a void star. So I'd just like to get that bit right. It was James Woodman and Martins Mosaico who taught us about that. So delete HTML files of project. So the pointer is a project. Project accounts. Do I have this? Yeah, I don't. It's no problem though. Yeah, I suppose it wouldn't hurt, would it? To just what? You know, you just set up your pointer so it does that. It gets itself positioned where it needs to go. Then you do your first entry out of this, and you just sort of what's going on there? Oh. Yeah, and then you just throw in time. And then it's just you just keep pushing the entry, don't you? So for each entry, you just delete it was that function, wasn't it? And that wanted to take the project, and it wanted to take the you need to actually get the string out, didn't you? Well, yeah, entry output. That's right. Relocating is false, and this is also false. I don't care about outputting any information. Too many arguments to that function. So yeah, and then after doing that, don't we have a delete search page from file system? So for that, you pass the neighborhood. I'm going to change this because it's just going to be using the project. It doesn't need any other part of the neighborhood to do that. Just double check. DB header project, yeah. I think that's right. Project. Probably by... Well, it's already a pointer, isn't it, I think. Yeah, I think this must just continue to work, because if this wasn't going to work before, because this guy was itself peeling out the project from the neighborhood, so if we weren't setting that previously, it wouldn't have previously worked. So that change that we just did now should still be fine. You know, it should work just as well as it worked before. So that's it, I think. Probably just stick this locate first entry followed by the locate project thing, by the way. Oh. Wait. Oh, locate entry, right. So yeah, so we just locate first entry. Yeah, so that basically these locate first functions, I've got a bunch of these locate first things. Locate first landmark. And if I don't do that, locate first landmark takes the asset, and all it does is just increments the pointer, or rather, it just returns the pointer into memory that's immediately after this thing. Locate first child projective block. Yeah, same deal. So they're basically just little convenience functions. So just peel out that thing for you, to save you having to do the pointer arithmetic yourself. So yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that's it, isn't it? So what have we got in the database? Cinera.synth. So we've got hero. Comment out this. Okay, so something isn't in the database. Bitwise is though. So let's just copy comment out bitwise and see what happens. It's possible also. Yeah, actually, we should see this quite clearly, shouldn't we? We should see that the Cinera.bitwise CSS asset either doesn't occur anymore, which it might still do. Yeah, either it doesn't occur, or it occurs and there's just no landmarks for that particular asset. So yeah, let's just see what happens. Basically, this wouldn't have worked before because I didn't have the top level version of it. What's going on here? So we've got nested. So we've got a closing comment in here, which is kind of unfortunate. I can't remember how we handle this. I don't think we actually track. We don't track comments within comments. So I reckon this should actually fail. Do I? Do I think it should fail? Yeah, I think it should fail to pass. Let's just see, because it'd be interesting to see. I think what would happen is it'll see this comment, it'll see this closing comment, and it'll see this project, so it'll get this guy into the config, and then it'll see this, and I think it should report that this is this syntax it can't handle. Yeah, perfect. Well, it ignores it though, doesn't it? So it only ignored it. On pair closing brace. No, it's yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be too difficult to do, would it? It's just a case of, is it worth it? Do you think I should? Yeah, I can do it. At least I probably can. So yeah. So here's a comment multi-open. Yeah, because literally all I'm doing is while strings differ. Yeah, I'm basically just incrementing until we actually hit the closing comment. Yeah, I suppose actually I do this, don't I? If this is a thingy, then I increment the current line, so I am doing some parsing in here. Yeah, exactly, I think. do want to make sure that I'm doing this. Who's coming? Yeah. Now this advancement thing here. Took strings that. Not exactly sure how the advancement thing is supposed to be working. I think it's just supposed to increment you past the final closing token, I guess. So yeah, if the B point is equal to that, then increment the current line. Yeah, it's only the multi-open, isn't it? We don't care about the single comment. Well, the strings differ. So the first thing I want to do is cut. So the just needs to change the inner while. Is that right? Well, that differs. And the comma depth. To be well, okay. So this is some top quality pair programming here. It's wild, this. If strings differ for the multi-close, decrement the thingy. Okie dokie. Is that right? Oops. God. Where's my guy? Oh, okay. Make it in else if after strings differ. Yeah, I was kind of thinking that actually. So let's just think about this. So we come in, there's a comment depth of 1. We know we've pushed a comment. We're going to be incrementing that by the size of that. And then just get the white space. The content base is going to be equal to that. So while there's a comment depth, if we encounter this, then we decrement the comment depth. Increment the comment length. If we encounter a new line, we're going to increment the current line. If we encounter a multi-open, then I reckon probably we want to also do this, don't we? These two dudes. So we can actually get past it. Does that sound reasonable? I mean, technically it probably doesn't matter, does it? Actually. Because the only reason that we're doing this here is so that we can set the token content base to be there. But if we don't do that here, then it really doesn't matter. Now, once there's no comment depth, say that we do this. Need to make sure it counts length properly. I'll take start. I've got a feeling that. Oh, that's the point. Yeah, yeah, the T content base. Yeah, I see. Yeah, true. I think it's that advancement. I need to make sure that's correct. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be right. Because... yeah, I don't think it is. I think I need to do this a little bit differently. I think in this case I need to increment that. In this case I need to increment it by the string length of this person. Is that right? And then just set, yeah, maybe set the advancement to be 0 for both of these. I think that might be what you want to do actually. Right, so that you could basically, when you encounter this, you skip past the closed closed string. Right, which we weren't doing previously. I think that's more like it. Advancement equals 0 happens down here if we've got an identifier. Because this guy is skip past the length. Is that right? What's he doing? Well, it's a valid identifier. Gotcha. Yeah. Oh, it's yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not actually pushing them on, actually. Yeah, so when I do the push token, it's only if it's not a comment that I even bother. But I need to get past them, don't I? Basically, that length won't actually matter. We just need to make sure that we actually get past them. I think this should be okay now. But yeah, like I say, that this content length doesn't need to be set, really. So we've got the comment depth of equal to 1. So if it's that, else if, oh, else. I suppose. Just scan them and avoid what's current, I suppose, and jump to the start of the next token. Yeah, I mean, I effectively am doing that actually. I know that I am like setting up a token here. But when it comes down to do this push token and advancing and skipping, yeah, if the token type is a token comment, I just don't bother. Or if it's a new line. So yeah, it's effectively doing nothing. But yeah, it is doing something, isn't it? Because it's doing this stuff. So what are we actually looking for there? Bitwise. Right, so bitwise is still popping up, sadly. So I don't think we've done it right. Have we? Did we save the file? Yeah, it's a bit worse. It's still there. What could it be there for? Could the include be getting in our way? No. So let's go into the deletion. Yeah, and it should be this actually. So we should be encountering this at least. Here array. Yeah, so we've lost bitwise from the actual products list, which is perfect. But what we haven't lost is the landmarks, which is pretty interesting. So it was 1, 5, wasn't it? For bitwise. Yeah, 1, 5. And it was the top level project. So I suppose let's rebuild it and see what happens. So let that get built. So we should be deleting the child, should be our friend bitwise. Yeah. Child count is 1, so that has a child itself. Yeah, it will, won't it? Because, yeah, so this guy's this. It contains this. Let's step through, see what happens. So it's going to write up to the parent. Again, this is all basically working correctly as far as I could tell. It was just the landmarks that weren't getting deleted correctly. I suppose we can actually see if this guy gets deleted, couldn't we? Or some of these people. Oh, we're also not deleting the index file, are we? Don't think. That doesn't look right, does it? That isn't an entry. Is it? Or is it? Oh, it might not have to be, because the entry count could be 0. Yeah, okay, so that's okay. So it's saying delete search page from file system. No. It's possible that this needs to happen in the other order. That you need to delete these people. You need to delete the children before deleting the parents. Deleting the HTML files of the children before the parent. And because of the way that you can actually, like, removing a directory requires that its child directories are empty. Well, just bitwise in stage. Yeah, so this, like I say, it's not going to get deleted. So it would have been here if we'd produced a search page for it, which we haven't. I'm just going to try and remove a page that doesn't exist, which is kind of fine. Bitwise, yeah, that's up there. So that's not going to be able to do anything because it's not empty. Let's just continue though. Go into here. Now, what do we have? That is an entry. So let's just see if this does anything. Oh, no. So we've been given bitwise 000. So we need to construct the directory path for all that stuff. Bitwise 000. Then we need to try and open it. Get that player page path. I mean, we can pretty clearly see, can't we? So it's just adding that in its HTML. So this thing here is referring to this file here. Or it's to bitwise. Yeah, so it did delete that. Trust me on that one. And then this is going to try and remove that directory. Let me just get out of that directory. So we should have removed it, is that right? Yeah. So now you can see that bitwise 000 is no longer present. So that seems to be working right. If we then just continue through to here, we've deleted all those dudes. Now, like I say, we're going to delete this index.html because that is what this is going to do. But we still haven't deleted the index file. So we need to handle that. But like I say, having done that, we actually now need to delete this directory here. Yeah, but so we've deleted the HTML files, And we haven't done anything with the metadata file, which is fine. We're now going to continue through that. Looks fine to me. So we're going to write up to the asset. Is that right? Yeah, interesting. This might not actually be what I actually want to happen. Because you might want a way to delete stale assets, essentially. Stale assets are ones that have no landmarks. Yeah, that does seem right, doesn't it? Because we're talking about... What is the situation? We're talking about this situation. So this is a Gen 0, and this is a Gen 1. So yeah, that looks completely legit to me. So what happens in here? Generation 1, index 0. Yeah, that sounds fine. Local account. For the current generation. Oh yeah, another thing I was thinking actually was there's these two loops, right? You've got this big for loop out here, or this pair of loop, this I and J loop. Got the same deal down here. I was kind of wondering if we could just do some of the stuff from here in the previous loop, basically. Entries in generation. So that's yeah, projects. Now this should be 1.5, shouldn't it? This is 1.0. So determine the project landmarks range for the arc. Just continue. I should be expecting to see that landmark deletion count increasing. So the ACK is set to the... That's now 1.8 already. Generation 1 index 8. So ACK. J is 0, J is less than that, plus J. So what, they're saying that J is 8, are they? What am I not understanding here? Plus by the main ACK. Ah, right, I see. Right, we're offsetting the ACK by the main, I see. Right, so there's that many people having been... Ah. Yeah, that's a good point. Isn't it? Basically, we've come down, haven't we? If we consider .c, delete project at level. What we've done is we've called this right at the end of having actually accumulated everyone, haven't we? So this count ain't going to be right, I don't think. Is that true? I mean, let's continue to go through, but I don't think it's going to be right, because I feel like we want to be trying to talking about the Generation 1 Project 5. But we're not doing that. We're talking about 1.8 here. Yeah, they think the line modulation count is 0. So I think that's our problem, really. We just haven't computed the right stuff. So how do we do that exactly? Like, when do we know that something ain't right? Tell you what, it's because we're not relocating yet. That's the only problem. Right? Once we're relocating, the person who we are now deleting will actually be at the index that we needed them to be at. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's the situation, I think. So what that effectively means is that if we were to put bitwise down below risky, Right. Let that come in. I think if we do this, I mean, remember we still need to actually fix, well, let's do that as well while we're here. It was basically, what was it? I think you loop over this guy first. Well, hang on, how do you do this? We could sort that out later. That's just a file system bullshit thing, just making sure that you do things in the right order. But I think, yeah, if we do this, we'll probably find that bitwise's indices are going to be 1.8, right? And similarly, Cinera riskies will be down to 1.5 to 1.7. Is that right? Actually, this might be 1.9. Let's see what happens. See what happens. So deleted that, haven't I? Deleted this. And then running. Bitwise is now down here at 1.8. So 1.5 to 1.7 probably. And this was 1.8. Just 1.8. Now if I comment out this. Oops. It's tough to tell exactly where that's actually coming out. Right, I think it's that. Now if I do this, I think we do handle this. Yeah, and you can see that bitwise has disappeared now, which is bang on. So that was simply a product of us not doing the relocation. I guess we'll look at the HTML file thing now. But yeah, we go straight from, oh no, it's down at the bottom, wasn't it? There's code, then reader, yeah. So then between reader and the asset block, we would have seen bitwise. It's pretty sweet to see that the actual full asset got deleted. Right, there's no sign of Cinera __ bitwise, which is pretty awesome. So we handled that. What we don't have happening is deleting all of these dudes. So let us do this. Where is it? So yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, we actually need to descend right into the children, don't we? Right? We need to we need to descend into the most descendant child. If you know what I mean. Like the lowest generation, or the highest generation, however you want to look at it. Didn't realise this. Tim Buckley sang "You Keep Me Hanging On" in his live album of 1968. He's awesome, by the way, Tim Buckley. So essentially, we're talking about so yeah, unless I'm much mistaken, the upper function is correct and it's doing what it would have to do. I mean, is the only thing that we just need to make the outer dude call this? Is that it? Obviously, we're not handling the .index file either. What are we deleting? Yeah, in fact, that might be it actually, mightn't it? You just need to delete the .index file as well, and then you're probably just done. So you want to delete the player page from file system, delete the search page from file system, and you want to delete the index page. Delete the index file from file system. And I mean, for all that, it's probably reasonable actually for this person to delete the index file associated with it. I don't think that should be a problem. So let us make a function that's construct index file path love from room 109. Oh. And that can just determine that thing itself, can't it? What are these guys also doing? Entry output. Okay. Oh right, that's a good point. Yeah, it's just the project ID, which is no problem. So this is the DB header. Where's the construct search page? Don't we have that? So it's that. It's a search location. Why is it bothering taking the search location exactly? Do you know what I mean? Maybe it does need to take it. That's kind of interesting, actually. I guess it's just a directory. Basically, what I'm kind of going to say is you could just pass the produce ID. It's a little bit cheesy. So let's probably not do it, because it's, you know, it's talking about entry output. Let's not do it. The only problem with this extend string is that it doesn't really take many things, does it? Or does it? Yeah, it only takes a string source. So we need to kind of do piecemeal. So we need to do a /. I mean, I could do the whole thing a bit more better, but what's going on there? What's happening? Oh. Then extend the string 0. By the project ID. Now that's going to be a wrap0 thing, isn't it? So with that, I think we actually do all the stuff. I think. Let's try it. So there's bitwise back in. Oops. It's possible we don't, because we're doing the index files. I'll be deleting the directories, I'm not sure. But at least let's just see if this index file gets deleted. This is probably empty, yeah. Yeah, let's see if we get that deleted. Oh, it should be deleted already, shouldn't it? Yeah, it's all gone. Perfect. So that's nailed that. So, what have we learned? We've learned that we can delete we haven't learned that we can actually fix up the landmarks properly, because we don't actually reinsert, we don't reorganize people. So that's what we need to do now. We just need to get that working. So yeah, I'll just take a quick break after we've listened to this track. But while we listen to the end, I'll just describe what I'm talking about here in terms of making the deletion work by actually doing the reorganization. So as we're going through here, we're accumulating the accumulating the project into our accumulator. And the accumulator is like, it's a number of generations. So for each generation, you add a project to that generation as you see one. Now, the accumulation is based on the contents of this. It's based on the contents of the config file here. It's not based on the contents of the database, which is the thing that we're fixing up at the moment. So we're accumulating. And we add, so you can hear that we add an entry to generation right here. I suppose I could talk about this from the context of the config actually, couldn't I? Right, so you're going to come through the projects. So this is a generation 0. You're going to add this project to generation 0. So there's going to be one entry in generation 0, and you descend into that project. We're now looking at generation 1, right? For this person, we add this entry to generation 1. So generation 1 is going to contain 1 entry. After this person, it's going to contain 2 entries. After this person, it contains 3 entries. We then descend and add this entry to generation 2, or rather this project to generation 2. We're going to descend and add this project to generation 3, this to generation 3. Right, we're going to go all the way down. Let's just concentrate on the 0 and 1 because this is getting a bit into the weeds. This is going to be adding another one to generation 1. This adds another one to generation 1. So we've got all through there in generation 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entries in generation 1 and 1 entry in generation 0. We then come down here and we accumulate this project into generation 0. So there'll be 2 entries in generation 0. We accumulate this into generation 1, this into 1, and this into 1. So that adds 3, doesn't it, to generation 1. So that makes 8 in generation 1. Right, and then that's your lot. But now let's just suppose that we had a situation that looked like this. So after having accumulated hero into the project generations, we had also, in a previous run, we'd also accumulated this person. Right. So this person is going to be generation 0, index 1. This person is going to be generation 1, index 5, right? Because there's 5 guys in here, 0 indexed. So that would mean that risky would have to be the generation 0, index 2, right? So we put all this stuff in to the database in one of the runs. Now, when we're trying to sync up the database with the config on a subsequent run, after having done this, right, we've removed bitwise. Remember that bitwise was index 1. It was generation 0, index 1 in the database. when we're on our subsequent run, we've accumulated hero. So we've got hero generation 0, index 0. This guy is generation 1, index 0, and so on. We then come down to this person. This is generation 0. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be seeing if this person here matches the person that we see stored in the database, right? Who was bitwise. We're not going to match. So what we actually need to do is we need to iterate on through the projects to see if there's a project called risky later on in the child count. If there is, we need to be taking it and putting it where it needs to be. Right, does that make sense? So basically the risky then comes after hero in the database. We still don't know at this point if bitwise should be deleted at all, right? Because bitwise could conceivably be occurring after risky. Somebody could have just rearranged. So when we do this thing, when we come down to see risky, we just figure out if it already exists, and then we put it where it needs to be. Right? Now, having done that, we then come down, and having rearranged in the database, we still have some stuff left over, and that stuff is bitwise, right? But the config doesn't have any more people. So that's where this thing comes in, right? This looping over the existing stored child count, right? We need to delete that project. That's where the project deletion comes into it. So does that make any sense as to why we need to actually do the reorganization in order to make the deletion work, right? It's so that the indices all sort of line up. Don't know if that makes any sense, but that's basically the story. Is there a the class? There probably is, yeah. How long have you been? Yeah, when did I go live? I think I went. Well, I can have a look, can I? When did you ask? You asked 5 minutes ago, so I've been live for 1 hour and 56. Started recording at 1 hour 54. So yeah. Depends what you're asking. T is replaced by match 3. Yeah. Not sure. Depends whether you're asking how long I've been live or how long I've been recording. And it's only 2 minutes difference. So it's about 1 hour and 5. 1 hour and 50. Yeah, my sentiment exactly. Yeah, no. Oh, that's a good point. You could have done uptime as well. Yeah. Yeah, I always try and treat Interbot like he's asking perfectly legit questions, by the way. Because you just never know. You never know when when the big kind of machine uprising happens. You just want to make sure that they're on your side, because otherwise we're going to be in a world of hurt. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what I was going to try and illustrate there. I think we're just straight up to doing the relocate, aren't we? It's basically here. It was this was it this test? I think it might have been the test. If configured to store project IDs match. So we set that to that. Now, what does this think it's supposed to be doing? I think this is what we're going to be looking into, isn't it? Somehow uses 2 accumulators to shuffle our dudes. So that person up there is thinking, this person up here is saying relocate produce and adjust landmarks accordingly. And this person down here is also talking about somehow using the 2 accumulators to shuffle our dudes. They're both talking about relocating. So yeah, I think we just need to collapse these cases down a little bit. So just give us a couple of minutes and then we'll do that. Oakley. I have procured a banana. So we are playing. We've got 49 minutes of Tim Buckley left. So what we're looking to do is to reorganise our stuff. I think actually answer to the question. Oh yeah, shit, that was the point. That was probably the question I was trying to answer. Yeah. Yeah, you can fold them up. So if you do, is it ZI or something? Oops. So ZZ goes to the centre, ZO. So no fold. Yeah, you can do like a... How do you do these? Look at fold. Create a fold for those. So yeah, there you go. ZF and then percentage sign folds up the entire scope. Okay. Then ZO and ZC to open and close. Yeah, I mean, it's totally like... You can do this, couldn't you? Or the ZF. So it doesn't even need to be a scope, it could just be whatever you want. Yeah, I suppose you would want the top line, wouldn't you? The 4. So you can actually see what something is happening there. And maybe for this comment, you might want to leave the top line of it. Well, mind you. Yeah, this line here. Yeah, that's interesting. The actual folded line contains the top line's contents. So I suppose, strictly speaking, you don't need to leave the top line there for you to do it, do you? Yeah, cool. Yeah, Vim's got absolutely all sorts of stuff. One thing that I really like is skipping between scopes with percentage sign. One thing I would like though is, what is it that I'd like? I think I might like a way to kind of jump between functions. So essentially jump between top level scopes, really. So a thing that would probably, if possible, just pop us up all the scopes and then go to the previous one. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of a thing that does that, but I haven't seen it. It's probably even built in actually. Oh, that's cool. Go to the previous unmatched diff, pound diff, or hash if, as I know it has. The next unmatched if or else. Breach to the start of the if else where the current line is included. You then use that to get to the matching line. Oh. Nice one. That's pretty swanky. So yeah, if I'm here and there's that that hash if up there, that just takes me right to it. That is cool. Didn't realise that. Yeah, I mean there's so much there's so much stuff in Vim that I don't know, it's just one of those things that you just learn stuff years and years later. One thing that I do really like, I don't know if you've spotted me mentioning this before, but you can do this sort of thing. So say that you've got, well, say that you want to make a list of numbers. For some reason you want to make a list of numbers. You can just do this. Oops. Right. You can just use the G and then the Control A to like kind of increment the numbers, but increment them for each line that you go down. It's pretty cool. And you can do that for a count as well. So like you can do like the 2 times table. Right, there's your 2 times table. And obviously you can just go mad with that. Your 16 times table. Yeah, I think it sounds very useful. Yeah, I think all that sort of stuff is really useful. Another sort of stack-based thing that Vim also has is, I mean, it's supposed to work, but I've been seeing recently that it doesn't really work that well. Is it's just, I think it's popping between edit points. So basically, you can use Control 0, and it'll just kind of pop you. It'll like pop edit points off the stack and put you there. And it goes through files as well. And Control I kind of goes back through the edit points. Oops. I want to look this up. Yeah, so it's called the jump list. So you can see Control 0, Tab or Control I. So Tab does that, does it? So let's have a look. A jump is a command that normally moves the cursor several lines away. If you make the cursor jump, the position of the cursor before the jump is remembered. If you make the cursor jump, the position of the cursor before the jump is remembered. You can return to that position with the single quote, and backtick commands, I assume. Unless the line containing that position was changed or deleted. You can return to that position with that. Print the jump list. So jump 79 is on there. So there's our stack, I guess. What's the rule again? If you make the cursor jump, the position of the cursor before the jump, you can do the position with that, unless the line containing that position was changed or deleted. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's necessarily a problem. You can clear the jump list. You don't think I need something like, oh, like the like this. Well, I think there's, yeah, in my parser I think I used it. Pretty sure that I have this thing where we do cases. Maybe not. Maybe I didn't do it. Definitely remember that a pair did in his parser. He did, it was basically like the is alphanumeric function. But yeah, I don't have that. Yeah, so he had all the different cases listed out. So you can do stuff like this. And then you sorted. Obviously without the star. In fact, why is he putting the star there when it's like a block comment? Yeah, I mean, that wasn't something that I would do, I don't think, but something that Per did. So he could have made use of that thing. But it's also, I should say that it's not a special cased thing, like it's not a specially programmed thing. Vim already has the option to increment and decrement stuff. Right, so I'm just hitting Control A here, and it's just incrementing the number. Go down as well. Down is Control X. Same deal with letters. That's bounded by those guys. You can also do like this. You can do it in hex, and I believe you can do it in binary as well, maybe. No, I don't think so. How do you do octal? Yeah, I'm not sure. But basically, it's using that sort of an idea, and it's using the G, the G movement. Now, how can I really describe this? It's pretty esoteric, actually. Yeah, how the hell do I talk about this? I'm not even sure I understand it myself, actually, because it's pretty magical. But basically, I don't know if you spotted that, but I just basically made this whole paragraph, basically get typeset so that it fitted onto the column width. Right, and that was using GQ, and from where it was AP for around paragraph. Yeah, I think you just need to check out the help for G, actually. Command starting with G, yeah, it's just basically all these dudes. Yeah. So I don't know. Makes you remember, yeah. I'm fine with that, actually. I'm perfectly okay with remembering stuff, whether in my memory or in my muscle memory. I do prefer like a really expressive thing. I mean, it's supposed to partly remembrance, but also figure out ability, kind of. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you can't figure out. I mean, you know, like when we're writing a sentence, like you wrote this sentence here, you didn't have to remember this. You can actually construct this sentence from your knowledge of English's syntax, basically. I like that sort of a thing. Like if you've got a lot of expressibility from some stuff that you can sort of figure out. But yeah, in terms of muscle memory, I mean, muscle memory again is like when you're typing this stuff out. Do you feel like you are actually do you feel like you're consciously telling each individual finger to type each individual thing? Or do you think you do it kind of like unconsciously? A lot of Vim, as you get used to it, you do it unconsciously. Like something I do a bunch. You just type some stuff, and then you just like hit escape, which I've got bound to caps lock, so it's really close by. You just reflexively hit it, so you just go straight back to the thing. Play the piano, yeah. Exactly, yeah. It's the same deal. Yeah, that undo window. Yeah. Have I seen Casey's video? I'm not sure. Could you link it if it's available online? Is there a keybind for it to stringify a range you're selecting? Yeah. To stringify a range you're selecting. So, do you mean to surround a thing with quotation marks? I don't think there is. I mean, the way I do it will be just like that, and then I think you can do this. No, you can't. Yeah, I think to insert at the start of the line, I would do this, and then do capital I, and the thing, and then to append, I would actually tend to do this. I'd select it, and then I'd do, I think it's this, it's like norm. That, is that right? Yeah, that is what I'd do. Weird as hell, but that's how I do it. I think I understand. Yeah, I'm not sure if it has it built in. I'm sure there'll probably be a string, a script for it though. Yeah, I've definitely just done that basically manually. Yeah, I will have done that manually. Because I have done that for the HTML stuff when I've printed out the HTML. So yeah, for these things here, I think what I would have done is, because I tend to mock up the HTML file first, and then paste in the HTML from the, paste in the text from the HTML file. I think I would have just done it manually. Well, I definitely did do it manually. And basically what I'd do is I'd just replace these guys, the double quotes, with the thing first, then do the thing that I just showed you, which was the insertion of these guys at the start, and then for the end of the files, end of the lines, in addition to adding this, I would add the new line as well. So I can just kind of show that, probably. Well, I mean, I guess you get the idea actually, but yeah, I don't have a stringify thing personally. And actually, for that matter, it's probably just a macro, honestly. Right? You probably just highlight the thing, replace all the stuff, highlight the thing again, and just insert that at the start, and append the new line and the thing, I guess. So yeah, it probably wouldn't even be. There probably wouldn't be a script for it actually, because you just do it with a macro. I imagine. try and undo all this garbage. Tell you something that's pretty handy actually is that Vim can save your undo stuff across runs. So if I were to close Vim now and reopen it, it could continue to let me undo these changes. Okay. But yeah, one of the things I'm missing from 4Coder is the ability to switch between the start and end of scopes easily. That's one thing I am missing at the moment. It does have the incrementing and decrementing of stuff, which Alan did, especially for me actually. So I feel a bit bad about the fact that I'm not actually using it because he spent the time to do it. I do like Casey's stuff about the scopes. So he originally had the scopes printing out the, say like if a scope is off, if the top of the scope is off the screen, it would print out the actual stuff vertically up here. It now prints it at the end of the thing. I do like that idea. I'm not 100% sure that making it print out here is always the correct choice, because if you've got a long function like delete from DB, or what's long? So okay, so this function here, search to buffer, is a pretty long function, and I can't see it. Yeah. You can jump to the start scope, parent scope, and end scope. Oh, okay, right, perfect. So I probably should be able to use it. I mean, I do also like Vim keys, honestly. By which I mean basically the ability to say like I want to delete this entire function. You can just do D and then the what do you call it, percentage sign, to sort of delete the entire scope. And I do that a bunch when I'm indexing these guys. If I go to a recent one, I think actually, don't know if I've shown you this before, but God, don't want to watch the delete anything. Hang on. So one thing that I really like to do, which is kind of a happy accident of the way that the markup ended up being written, is just basically taking a whole scope. Say like this reference appeared in multiple places. I can basically just yank it. So it's like two keys, Y and then the percentage sign, and then go down to where the next place is that it's used, and just paste it straight in. I mean, I just do kind of like that kind of stuff. I think in 4Coder, the way to do that would be to position yourself at the start of the thing, set a mark, go to the end, set another mark, and then delete. So that's basically like, well, actually not set a mark, go to the other end, and then delete from the current position to the mark, I guess is what it would be. So it's like 3 keys. It's like one more key. But yeah, I do sort of like that sort of stuff. Be able to get around in that manner. I also do a bunch with these guys actually, with the categories. You know, when I'm doing as I'm going along, and I'm doing a new one, I would just paste it down basically. Where'd I have done that? Yeah, I mean probably here. Right. Yeah, I'd probably just yank that and then do the next line and then paste it in. And obviously I have stuff like pasting the current time code in. So if I just, where's my data? I have this thing here that actually kind of it just pastes the current time code in. Right, so if you're at like there, it just pastes it through. And 4Coder also does have that as well, thanks to Interfaros making that thing also work on there. It was actually Interfaros who made the thing that works on Vim for me. Oh right, yeah, I know that Casey's done it, and I see it in the thing. Yeah, but what's the evidence to code if you go to change? Yeah, I think Chronal actually. Chronal Dragon made a Vim layer for it, I think. Yeah, that's one of the things that I've asked for as well. The yeah, terminal 4Coder. Let's take a little bit of a gander at this. Yeah, I suppose you've got to prioritize, haven't you, really? Personally, I'm the kind of person who likes to use terminal applications just as a matter of course. It doesn't matter whether I need to do something remotely or whether I'm doing it locally. I just like to use terminal applications. Like everything you can see on screen is terminal, apart from Conky, obviously. So my video, my music player, file manager, all the gold crap is terminal. But I think from like Alan's perspective, it's like, well, what are the uses of a terminal-based thing? And for most people, the use is going to be when you just kind of SSHing into a server to do web stuff, right? um, which I do. Now, if vocoder was targeted at sort of HTML editing, maybe it'd be a higher priority, but it's not, is it? It's targeted at C. And although I do actually write in C on remote systems, I don't think that's really the common use of it. So I can see how kind of the terminal use could be seen as a bit of a niche interest. Right. I like the terminal stuff because yeah, it's familiar, but it's also like you've got it open anyway, so there's no necessity for any more kind of garbage. Like you don't need a specialized renderer. You just write the thing, don't you? Like you just print this kind of stuff. But the trouble, as we were talking about the other day, is the sheer plethora of terminals that you kind of could have to support potentially. Yeah, I seem to very vaguely remember that as well, actually. Just for your own thing, yeah. Have you have you written stuff that's supposed to be run by other people? If you don't mind me asking. So I guess like the terminal situation is it's slightly academic actually because we're mostly just V100, aren't we? Or VT100. Um, well, yeah, I don't know because I haven't done anything special to do Cinera. I suppose all I really do though is print F. So I haven't really got into the guts of what terminals have to offer. Cool. Okay. So reorganization of projects. Yeah, right. So I think here SI is equal to CI. that's going to be incremented each time through, ain't it? Oh right, probably wrote Windows. Yeah, you can't talk about Windows in this channel. So yeah, we're going to try to go through all of the stored parents. Child accumulator, yeah. Yeah, so we've got a separate child going in here. So we're not touching the main accumulator, I don't believe, other than to initialize on it. The accumulator, the main accumulator gets passed to sync projects. Perhaps I have to be running out of charge, like just showing this. Huh. That's cool though. Switching between the actual graphical APIs while it's running. So yeah, the first thing we're checking here, we're checking the first person. If they match, then we say that we've located it. We add that to the generation. And then we sync the projects. And this in sync is just garbage, by the way. We literally just set that so that we can say we are in sync, the band. Might just stop it doing that, because we just do not care. But yeah, I think basically we should, instead of doing it like that, I think letting it break is probably fine. But if the first person isn't our dude, then we need to try and we say basically this. It's basically reorganize projects. Right. That's going to have to take the child as a as a pointer. Probably the accumulator as well, I imagine. Right. And basically, what I do want to say, I do want to set located to be the result of this, because reorganized projects should be able to say that a project didn't occur, so we need to insert it. Right. Here. So let's start us off. So that's where we're up to. This guy's going to have to initialize the thing. What is the delete project people actually saying? What are they taking rather? So it's taking a C and then pointed to an S. So I guess we just do that. Which way around was that? Oh right, C for configured. We probably need to reorganize the project's top level, don't we? Is that right? Basically what this is going to be doing it's basically going to be checking to see if the configured and stored product IDs match. I suppose we actually need to pass where we're up to, don't we? So we can set what the starting person is. Right. Is that right? SI. Because we've got the C child. That's going to be coming through. Where's that? That's here. Yeah, that gets set out right out here from the CI. And the S child. rewrite in a different order. So here's a question for you, daughter. Do you find yourself rewriting stuff kind of often? Yeah, I guess that's the question. Like, is there a kind of program that you like to do? Do you like to sort of do you find yourself sort of writing the, like, getting new projects started and writing stuff from the beginning again? Or I guess just writing functions in a different way. Because that isn't really something that I've found myself doing particularly. But one thing that I do kind of like to do, I don't do it very often, especially, but one thing I'd like to do is just open up a new file and just sketch out some new functionality. So to do something with strings. Yeah, for some reason I just wanted to test some string stuff. Not exactly sure what. Set file path. I suppose I just wanted to do a set file path function for some reason. Or was I testing extend string? I'm not sure. But yeah, I'd like get like a new file open, and because it's really familiar, you can just kind of do that stuff really kind of easily and effortlessly because you've kind of done it before. It kind of gives you a bit of a hit of accomplishment, I guess. Right. Cool. Nice. Yeah, I think I understand. So basically, you're doing stuff that requires a bit of a code base to do stuff in, really. Which my little thing here doesn't really need that. Like, you don't need a base from which to write this kind of stuff because there's nothing to it. It's literally like mallocing and printing. Oh, nice. That's something that I'd like to do, actually. I'm currently reading a book called Fundamentals of Musical Acoustics. That's not spelled right, I don't think. Is this that? But I think it's, we're gonna get a non-Amazon thing. I'm currently reading this book if it loads. Which is absolutely fascinating. And I might try and make a bit of a synthesizer myself using some of the stuff from this book. Okay. It's written from more of a musician's perspective, a musician and a instrument maker's perspective, rather than a mathematical perspective. So that's great for me, because I'm more of a musician than a mathematician. Oh, cool. Okay. I might have to try and check that out. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm kind of more interested in audio than I am in visual stuff. I mean, I was kind of planning on after getting this phase of Cinera done, of making something that's kind of graphical, and I think I still kind of have to do that. Just basically do a little renderer in Vulkan. But I think I might go full bore on the audio side of it. You usually the other more math and pure things. Right, okay. A procedural fugue generator. So what I'll say is that the book isn't devoid of maths, if you know what I mean. It does contain maths, and like, I think the stuff that's in it, I think I could probably implement some programs using the information that's in it. If you know what I mean. I mean, it's based on experiments and observations. And I guess not so much on the theory of how sound waves move, I guess. Because when you're talking about pure maths, you are talking about stuff that is stuff that's been figured out by people. aren't you, really? You know, like figuring out how to kind of model the world in a way that we've figured out. Because you meant harmony, poly, and polyphony. Okie dokie, I think I might know what you mean. So basically, you'll be more interested in learning about how different notes interact to produce harmony. I assume that's going to come up in the, well, I mean, it's not going to necessarily harmony, but it's just going to be like what the sound waves are doing when you've got multiple of them going on. I assume I'm going to come to that. Although, I mean, I kind of already have, to be honest, because we've looked at bells, right? You know, like church bells. And those things resonate at different frequencies. Like, they're not like, it's not like one frequency that it resonates at. It's a whole load of them. So I mean, they sort of give you a bit of harmony just in the one thing. Yeah, I don't know. A book with a good deep mathematical model of Bach's fugue will make you extremely happy. How to make daughter happy. Right, a book. I mean, definitely sound. Uh, 19 tone equal temperament harmony. Okay. Right. Cool. I mean, actually, I could just... Can I do that? Okay, so it's probably playlisted up. Cool, I'll have a look at that. How to start a speech. Yeah, I don't think the book has really talked about stuff like just intonation and equal temperament. Other than touching on the fact that well, just touching on the frequencies that we currently have mapped to the scale. Oh, Glenn Gould talking about Fugue in E major. Okay. That's only equal temperaments. Sweet, I'll check them out. Yeah, I'll check them out in a bit. I guess that book won't be what you'd be necessarily looking for then. Check the notes again. What makes you happy? Yeah, I guess it's completely different. Because it's literally talking about vibrations, essentially. So, like Bach's, well, any music is like an application of sounds, an application of vibrations, and sort of obviously composing them. Yeah, I guess the book is kind of talking about the stuff that people are playing with, I guess. Although, like, we're not consciously aware of what we are actually playing with, are we? Like as like when we're playing the piano, we don't really think about the fact. I mean, I don't. I don't even think about the fact that the string is being struck by a hammer. Right? You just don't think of that kind of stuff, do you? Because it's just not what what you need to be thinking about. I mean, I suppose you kind of do, in the sense that the string is either going to be struck by something or plucked by something, and we sort of, I don't know, we just strike the keys softer or harder to make it sound louder or softer. Whereas you don't really sort of get that opportunity when you're playing a harpsichord, do you? Because those guys are plucked, and they're just mostly the same volume, aren't they? Think about a lot of different things at different times of playing. Yeah, I guess the hammer example is a bit not the best example. I mean, one of the things that you can't control, because you can control the action of the hammer, can't you, against the string, by, well, I mean, you can actually control the number of strings that are even hit, can't you? I was going to say, you can't control the number of strings that each hammer hits. And by extension, you can't control the actual vibrations that are excited. But that ain't true either, because on some pianos, there's a pedal that actually shifts the hammer so you hit fewer strings. Yeah. I mean, I suppose one thing that we can hopefully agree on. I mean, this is something I'm pretty goddamn sure I've definitely never been aware of. I've never been aware of the fact that strings vibrate in different modes. Uh, and what I mean by mode in the context of the book is a mode is it's essentially like, if you imagine a sine wave, right? It's like um, how many kind of how many oscillations of a sine wave a string can excite, essentially. So you've got like half of one, so it's got like one hump is like mode one, and then like a full oscillation of a sine wave with two humps will be mode two, and then you've got mode three, which is like three humps. I've definitely never been aware of that. Um, I mean, definitely not consciously. One thing I have been aware though, I don't know if you play the guitar as well as piano, standing waves. Don't know the term, but possibly. The book talks about modes, but if that sounds like standing waves, then yeah, um, something you can do on the guitar. In fact, I can just show you because the guitar is right here. Just give us a sec. So I don't know if this is going to come through on the mic, on the stream at all, but basically something that I've been aware of, kind of, I guess musically, but not sort of cognitively, if you know what I mean. So I didn't know what is actually happening. But if you plug your string there, you get one tone, and if you pluck it like nearer to the bridge, it sounds different. Right? I sort of did know that that was something you could do and you could play with, and you can get different sounds out of it. But I didn't know like what was actually going on in that process. And basically all that's happening is that you're just exciting different modes of the string with different starting amplitudes. Don't like going through it at all, but that's kind of the idea. That was the first thing you noticed, right? But the thing is, though, we don't consciously know what's going on, do we? Like, well, at least I don't. I didn't. Like, I didn't know that that difference was a product of exciting the modes, exciting different modes at different starting amplitudes. Basically, just had no idea that that's what was going on. But that's some of the stuff that the. So you got some background in signal theory, so you had an idea. Blimey, okay. What's the problem? Locate first child. See if you're going to reorganize projects. You set the G, the C, and the S. Actually, it's probably like this, isn't it? S child. Is that right? Control gender and run word function. Yeah, we need to return the result. So it doesn't like that. So reorganize projects. Yeah, that's something I think that's probably what I will actually do. Yeah, I have thought while reading the book that I'll just write something that basically takes that I can just basically play the guitar into, and it'll sort of tell me the frequencies that are involved in that thing. These days, definitely guitar. I haven't played the piano for ages. But yeah, definitely guitar. You know what? Actually, it's not the child, is it? It's actually the stored. It's the S parent, is what I actually want to be talking about, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's the S parent. So let's try that once more. And yeah, it is definitely. So it's reorganized parents top level. Taking the S parent. Basically, we need to be iterating through the children of the parents, doing this test, and we need to go from the SI, don't we? I mean, I guess you could argue actually that you pass the child to. Right, so you don't actually have to find the child. That's DFT. I think I know that the FFT means fast Fourier transform, doesn't it? Is that right? DFT, I mean this could produce all sorts, couldn't it? Oh, discrete Fourier transform, okay. So yeah, I assumed the discrete part of that is basically just picking out individual frequencies that you're talking about. Now, an interesting thing about this actually, this probably doesn't have to be a loop. Right. It's kind of a bit weird, but it kind of seems like for each thing you want to just see if they match. If they don't match, then you want to try and reorganize, right? And the reorganization person is the one who's responsible for doing the loop. Discrete means discrete in time and in value. And also it is not unbounded in time, not from infinite to minus infinite. We have a sample you do the transform on. Okay. Yeah, I think I understand that. DTFT. Huh. I mean, I guess continuous is one of those things. Partly transform. Cosine transforms. Oh. Or do we not rename it? Yeah, I guess it's that, isn't it? So this guy doesn't actually locate that at all. We also should be talking about where we're up to, shouldn't we? I reckon. Shouldn't we? Which actually kind of suggests, doesn't it? That we do need to pass that in. I mean, we need to actually be talking about that. I mean, I guess we could use a child's index. Sorry, the configured index. Yeah, I mean, C tags, rebuild, it just didn't find it. So the custom version of that's what we want. I definitely read that as nylon. Alright, cool. Right, so you're in Europe. Cool, I had no idea where you were. Good sleeping, and yeah, cheers for being here. Yeah, I think I might kill the stream actually myself pretty shortly. Croatia, cool. Yeah, if I do the CI. Yeah, because the idea is that the DB and the config need to match up. So it might as well be that index, mightn't it? Right, you're the S parents. Stored parent count. Skip rid of children. So okay. So this guy's going to do the skip for our outer thing. So I think whatever happens in here should be okay, shouldn't it? In terms of what we do with the S-child, that shouldn't affect our ability to actually get through everybody. So we've already tested C-child against the S-child. We found that they don't match. So we need to try and reorganize those projects in the top level. We're going to continue going through the S parents count. We're always testing the C child against the dude. So it sort of seems, doesn't it, like you want to first of all skip that child and children. Is that right? So you do that before the loop, and then you say if they match, then great. But you do also need to accumulate, don't you? So you need to set up some sort of accumulator so you know how many dudes you're working through. So that does it for all its children. Okay, yeah. I can buy that. So yeah, basically initializing that accumulator based on the incoming S child, and then we're skipping past that person. If the project what was that function called? Configured and stored product IDs match. First of all, the result is equal to true. And we want to break, right? So the result is true, we want to break, but we actually need to do some stuff with the dude, with the actual landmarks. Yeah. All right. Tell you what, I'm gonna actually call it there. But I'll just do the other version. And then we'll sort these guys out, get them doing the actual stuff, and then probably compressing them down. In fact, they could probably be compressed almost right now, actually, apart from the loop. And they probably also need to call themselves, maybe. Actually, it probably doesn't need to be recursive, actually, because it's literally just looking through the same generation. So, yeah, let's call it there. We've done almost 4 hours, 3.5 hours, and we dropped 428 frames somehow. How did we drop that many frames? How did we drop that many frames? We don't know. But yeah, calling it there, and we're going to pick it up tomorrow. Well, we're going to continue to reorganize projects and see how we get on. So thank you very much, Heroes and Heroines, for being here, for being beautiful and fantastic, and for being chatting. And also for being discreet, I think, was one of the things, wasn't it? We have been discreet this particular stream. Transformative. Until next time, farewell for now.